Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. I am Lonnie Appleton. I am a healthy family advocate. I am here by way of reading the Bible right now, but my platform overall, I am here to help heal the family, heal the community, heal the society, change the energetic vibration by changing our energy vibration individually, ultimately collectively. So that is what we do here with this content. If you're not familiar, please check out the videos and join the community. Otherwise, I am here. I'm reading the Bible Monday through Saturday, 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Presently, it is 12:09, so 9 minutes ago, 12-ish daily. Monday through Saturday, I come and read the Bible. We just completed Genesis, and we are starting Exodus. And that's it. Let's get into it. Exodus. The Israelites. Okay. The Israelites oppressed. Chapter 1. There are and also, get your journals and whatever we converse or whatever chapters we covered during our reading today. I encourage you to just process your thoughts and how you can apply what we learned to your actual life, and that's the way that we can actually use the Bible in our day-to-day lives. The Israelites oppressed. Chapter 1. These are the names of the sons of Israel who went to Egypt with Jacob, each with his family: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan and Naphtali; Gad and Asher. The descendants of Jacob numbered 70 in all. Joseph was already in Egypt. Now Joseph and all his brothers and all that generation died, but the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They multiplied greatly, increased in numbers, and became so numerous that the land was filled with them. Then a new king, to whom Joseph meant nothing. New regime comes in. If there's no rapport, then there it goes. Came to power in Egypt. Look, he said to his people, the Israelites have become far too numerous for us. Come, we must deal shrewdly with them, or they will come even more numerous, and if war breaks out, will join our enemies, fight against us, and leave this country. Fear-mongering. Sounds familiar, America. So they put slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor, and they built Pithom and Rameses as store cities for Pharaoh. But the more they were oppressed, the more they multiplied and spread. So the Egyptians came to dread the Israelites and worked them ruthlessly. They made their lives bitter with harsh labor in brick and mortar and with all kinds of work in the fields. In all their harsh labor, the Egyptians worked them ruthlessly. The king of Egypt said to the Hebrew midwives, whose names were Shiphrah and Puah, when are you helping the Hebrew women during childbirth? When you are helping the Hebrew women during childbirth on the delivery stool, if you see that the baby is a boy, kill him. But if it is a girl, let her live. Ooh-wee. I remember hearing a long time ago a custom in Asia was to actually do the opposite. I don't know if it's true, but I heard that. The midwives, however, feared God and did not do what the king of Egypt had told them to do. There's always a greater power, y'all. They let the boys live. Then the king of Egypt summoned the midwives and asked them, why have you done this? Why have you let the boys live? The midwives answered Pharaoh, Hebrew women are not like Egyptian women. They are vigorous and give birth before the midwives arrive. So God was kind to the midwives, and the people increased and became even more numerous. And because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own. Then Pharaoh gave this order to all his people. Every Hebrew boy that is born, you must throw into the Nile, but let every girl live. Whew, harsh. Can you imagine such fear of just the number, the sheer existence? The sheer existence of someone strikes so much fear in you that you wish that they no longer walk the earth. A baby can't even live. That's some crazy stuff. And then because the midwives feared God, he gave them families of their own, as if, what if they didn't want a family? Can't you give me somewhere else? Like, having a family, I'm not saying that it's not, because I love my family and my family is my ultimate gift. But, when it says they were rewarded and they were gifted with their own families. Like, what if they didn't want families? Can I get something else? Can I switch my gift up? Or I just got to be happy with this new responsibility that I really never wanted, but it's a gift. The birth of Moses, chapter 2. Now a man in the tribe of Levi married a Levite woman, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him for 3 months. But when she could hide him no longer, she got a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and pitch. Then she placed the child in it and put it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile. His sister stood at a distance to see what would happen to him. Then Pharaoh's daughter went down to the Nile to bathe, and her attendants were walking along the riverbank. She saw the basket among the reeds and sent her female slave to get it. She opened it and saw the baby. He was crying, and she felt sorry for him. "This is one of the Hebrew babies," she said. Then his sister asked Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the baby for you?" "Yes, go," she answered. So the girl went and got the baby's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So the woman took the baby and nursed him. When the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." Whew, that was a powerful whole little couple of verses. The mother put the baby by the water. The sister stayed to see what would happen. The next person just happened to be Pharaoh's daughter, which is the daughter of the person that ordered the death of all of these babies. And then the little girl comes up and she says, "Hey, did you want me to go find someone to nurse her?" And so then the baby is actually returned to the mother, and then Moses is able to grow up briefly with his mother. So that was deep. That can be definitely analyzed further. Moses flees to Midian. One day, after Moses had grown up, he went out to where his own people were and watched them at their hard labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his own people. Looking this way and that, and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. The next day he went out and saw two Hebrews fighting. He asked the one in the wrong, "Why are you hitting your fellow Hebrew?" Then the man said, "Who made you ruler and judge over us? Are you thinking of killing me as you killed the Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid and thought, "What I did must have become known." They gossiping. Somebody seen something. And ain't nobody else got nothing else to talk about, so they're going to talk about you. When Pharaoh heard of this, he tried to kill Moses, but Moses fled from Pharaoh and went to live in Midian, where he sat down by a well. Now a priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came to draw water and fill the troughs to water their father's flock. Some shepherds came along and drove them away, but Moses got up and came to their rescue and watered their flock. So let me back up. Because Pharaoh's daughter found Moses and kept Moses. Now, did the Hebrews look different than the Egyptians? Because if she came home with this baby, it's just like, I don't know, I'm just going to say, it's like a white woman coming home with a black baby. Like, we know that ain't our baby. We know that ain't from our people. So, and I just asked because when Pharaoh found out that Moses killed the Egyptian, it was just some random Egyptian. It wasn't like Pharaoh's homie that he killed. It was just some random Egyptian. So did he want to kill Moses? Like, he been trying to get at Moses whole life because he knows he's a Hebrew. And now he got justification. Like, why was Pharaoh so apt to get at Moses simply because he killed someone? Pharaoh was taking out babies left and right. Clearly, Pharaoh ain't got a problem with killing folks. But when Moses killed an Egyptian, is it because Moses was Hebrew? And Pharaoh was just like, I can't wait to get my hands on that little mama. You saved, you protected by my daughter. As soon as you step out of line, and then Moses fled. I'm just curious. They answered, an Egyptian rescued us from the shepherd. He even drew water for us and watered the flock. All right, so these young ladies. Trying to find the names. But anyway, these 3 young ladies identified Moses as an Egyptian. So did he present as an Egyptian? Why did Pharaoh want to kill him? Because he killed an Egyptian, but Moses is his grandson-ish. And where is he? Rael asked his daughters. Why did you leave him? Invite him to have something to eat. Moses agreed to stay with the man who gave his daughter Zipporah to Moses in marriage. Like, just immediately just handing daughters over. Like, no wonder we jump so fast in relationships. They'd be like, you, wife, now. Zipporah gave birth to a son, and Moses named him Gershom, saying, I have become a foreigner in a foreign land. During that long period, the king of Egypt died. The Israelites groaned in their slavery and cried out, and their cry for help because of their slavery went up to God. God heard their groaning, and he remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. So God looked on the Israelites and was concerned about them. I need to read the other version because I really don't like when they say God remembered. Like, did he forget? How did all-knowing God forget until he's reminded? Because people complaining. I don't know. I just don't like that translation. Moses and the burning bush. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn. So by the time Moses entered the chat, things like this wasn't commonplace, but something like this during Abraham's time was just like, oh yeah, burning bush. What's up, God? When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of Egyptians and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way of the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go, I am sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. And so that reminds me of this awakening that we're experiencing and how we have been in, a state of darkness, so to speak, or the 3D, third dimension. And now we are, and I don't know the full scope of this, or have full understanding. I'm just speculating and theorizing. That's what I do. But now God has seen the people crying out, moaning, and struggling. And so now we have entered the space of the awakening and the releasing, because we are still in slavery. We're still slaves. They just restructured it, and they've restructured it again. And those who are not aware that they are not awake, but they believe that they are, will be the next generation that will be enslaved. So it is very imperative that you use this time to truly do everything that's necessary to reverse everything that has been. Because 99.99999% how you have existed up until the point of you entering into your space of awareness is oppressing you. And God said, I will be with you. Oh, but Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And God said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Moses said to God, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell him? God said to Moses, I am who I am. Whew. He said, I am who I am. That's some powerful stuff right there. Thank you for the likes, Lynn. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. That's why God is I am. Yes. Go ahead and enter the chat then. Yeah, I can see that's just like, the calling that I feel that I have I know. The calling that I know that I have on my life is such a huge undertaking, and it's just like how. And if you're living in your truth, you're living in your divinity, and you know that you have been called to do whatever it is that you have been called to do in this lifetime, I know it's overwhelming because it's like how? How am I supposed to go to the Israelites and say, follow me? Like, and I feel the same way. It's like, okay, God, I know you called me to do this great work in this lifetime, but how? And it's just the trusting and knowing that I am. Thank you for the follow, Lynn. Go assemble the elders of Israel and say to them, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob appeared to me and said, I have watched over you and have seen what has been done to you in Egypt, and I have promised to bring you up out of your misery in Egypt into the land of Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now, I'm just going to stop here. I was pausing while I was reading because I was thinking, remember, all of these people, the Israelites, ended up in this space because of the previous Pharaoh, the Pharaoh of Joseph's time. And he was like, come on, your people can take the best of the land and they can come and become one with us. And then the other... Then the new Pharaoh comes in and he sees these people who are foreigners to the land, even though these people have been on the land before him, not before his people, but before him. And he's like, they're the foreigners. But there's a lot going on there. I won't theorize it and work it through here, but there's a lot going on there. The elders of Israel will listen to you. Then you and the elders are to go to the king of Egypt and say to him, the Lord, the God of the Hebrews, has met with us. Let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God. But I know that the king of Egypt will not let you go unless a mighty hand compels him. So I will stretch out my hand and strike the Egyptians with all the wonders that I will perform among them. After that he will let you go. And I will make the Egyptians favorably disposed towards this people, so that when you leave, you will not go empty-handed. Every woman is to ask her neighbor and any woman living in her house for articles of silver and gold and for clothing, which you will put on your sons and daughters, and so you will plunder the Egyptians. Chapter 4, Signs for Moses. Moses answered, what if they do not believe me or listen to me and say, the Lord did not appear to you? Then the Lord said to him, what is that in your hand? A staff, he replied. The Lord said, throw it on the ground. Moses threw it on the ground, and it became a snake, and he ran from it. Then the Lord said to him, reach out your hand and take it by the tail. So Moses reached out and took hold of the snake, and it turned back into a staff in his hand. This, said the Lord, is so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has appeared to you. Then the Lord said, "Put your hand inside your cloak." So Moses put his hand into his cloak, and when he took it out, the skin was leprous. It had become as white as snow. "Now put it back into your cloak," he said. So Moses put his hand back into his cloak, and then he took it out. It was restored, like the rest of his flesh. Then the Lord said, "If they do not believe you or pay attention to the first sign, they may believe the second. But if they do not believe these two signs or listen to you, take some water from the Nile and pour it on the dry ground. The water you take from the river will become blood on the ground." Moses said to the Lord, "Pardon your servant, Lord. I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor since. You have spoken to your servant. I am slow of speech and tongue." So he had a stutter. The Lord said to him, "Who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Because I am that I am, you better tell him. Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say." Amen. Clear my baby's speech, Lord. But Moses said, "Pardon your servant, Lord. Please send someone else. Get somebody else to do it." Truth. I'm telling you, I woke up this morning and I was just like, can you get somebody else to do it? Like, some days I am so honored to be called to have this mission. And other days I'm just like, can you get somebody else to do it? Then the Lord's anger burned against Moses and said, "Oh, Lord, let me see how God's anger is burning against me." Because this morning I said, can you get somebody else to do it? Let's see. "What about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak well. He is already on his way to meet you, and he will be glad to see you. You shall speak to him and put words in his mouth. I will help both of you speak and will teach you what to do. He will speak to the people for you, and it will be as if he were your mouth and as if you were God to him. But take this staff in your hand so you can perform the signs with it." Moses returns to Egypt. So apparently he decided to do it. And apparently Egypt was like, okay, me too. Then Moses went back to Jethro, his father-in-law, and said to him, "Let me return to my own people in Egypt to see if any of them are still alive." Jethro said, "Go, and I wish you well." That's much different than Laban, who but yeah. Jethro was cooler than Laban, that's all I'm going to say. If I got to have a father-in-law, I'd rather have a Jethro than a Laban. Now the Lord had said to Moses in Midian, "Go back to Egypt, for all those who wanted to kill you are dead." So Moses took his wife and sons, put them on a donkey, and started back to Egypt. Ain't that crazy? X amount of years later, when they're leaving with flocks upon flocks upon flocks. Like, so many flocks, I could leave flocks behind and I still got flocks. That's how many flocks they had in the past. Now all Moses got is a wife, some sons, and a donkey. And started back to Egypt, and he took the staff of God in his hand, and the staff. The Lord said to Moses, "When you return to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders I have given you the power to do. But I will harden his heart so that he will, not let the people go. Then say to Pharaoh, 'This is what the Lord says. Israel is my firstborn son. And I told you, let my son go, so he may worship me. But you refuse to let him go, so I will kill your firstborn son.'" Dang. At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. What? What you gonna kill him for? I thought, The Lord? Who met him? The Lord is a capital L, so it's God. God showed up with Moses and was about to kill him. Why are you going to kill Moses? I guess we're going to find out if we keep reading. All right, Reed, just listen, girl. We talking about Moses and going to free the people. Hey, Miss Tay, going to free the people, free the Israelites from Pharaoh. But Zipporah took a flint knife, cut off her son's foreskin, and touched Moses' feet with it. Surely you are a bridegroom of blood to me, she said. So the Lord let him alone. At the time, she said bridegroom of blood, referring to circumcision. I know what foreskin is. Now, how do we get here, though? I'm so confused. Chapter 24, Hebrew hymn. At a lodging place on the way, the Lord met Moses and was about to kill him. What did Moses do from getting on his donkey and leaving his father-in-law's house to getting to the lodging place where the Lord was like, I'm about to kill you? But then he put a piece of foreskin on him, or Zipporah cut off her son's foreskin and touched Moses' feet with it. There's a lot going on. That was too much for me. The Lord said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. Thank you for the love, Miss Tay. So he met Moses at the mountain of God and kissed him. Then Moses told Aaron everything the Lord had sent him to say, and also about all the signs he had commanded him to perform. Moses and Aaron brought together all the elders of the Israelites, and Aaron told them everything the Lord had said to Moses. He also performed the sign before the people, and they believed. And when they heard that the Lord was concerned about them and had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshiped. I want to stop there because what this reminds me of is God has given me a mission in this lifetime, something that I have to do. God is giving you a mission as well, but I'm talking about me. But by me talking about me, you can start thinking about you. But anyway, God has given me a mission in this lifetime to perform. I understand that along the way I have created a life that may or may not be. I believe that my family is perfectly crafted for the work that I have to do. So I was given the family necessary to perform the work that I have been called to do in this lifetime. But I also am cognizant of the reality that I have created a life, I have created a family, I have created all of these things that may or may not align with my calling in life. So that means I am still going to continue on my work that I have to do in this lifetime, and I have to figure out how to take my family with me because I know my family was called, but I'm speaking from the perspective that my family hasn't been called to do the work that I've been called to do, but I still have to do this work. So I have to figure out how to peacefully get my family to come along with me. Otherwise, I'll be doing the work in my family that I created because I have free will and choice. But it's really hard to explain, but a lot of us create a life outside of purpose. And I know it's hard to think our spouse is out of purpose, our children are out of purpose. But a lot of us, as we are awakening to the work that we came to this physical plane to do, as we awaken, we are also awakened to the fact that a lot of the things that we have been doing have been because of free will. And we have created a lot of stuff that we shouldn't be involved in, but free will. And now that we wake up, what do we do about that? Now, if it's a whole family, we got to figure that out because we do want to get to the work that we came to this lifetime to do. But we also have to take care of what we created. If it's a thing, if it's a home, if you're living in the wrong state. I know that I'm supposed to be in Tampa and I'm in Texas. Tampa's in Florida, okay? But I'm in Dallas. So now that I have woken up, I know that I'm going to leave Dallas. And yes, I'll have to sell my home. Yes, I'll have to get a new job. Yes, but I'm moving to Tampa where I know that I'm supposed to be. So if it's a physical thing that you have established in your life as you awaken and you know that it's a part of the mask or the false identity that you created for yourself, we can do the work to get rid of those things. But what happens when you wake up to your calling and you're like, yo, I got a whole family that I wasn't supposed to create in order to do this work? What I'm gonna do with these people? We gotta figure it out. But that's not even the point that I wanted to make. I brought my family into it because I have a knowing since I was a child what I came to this earth to do. I've known since birth what I came to this earth to do. Thank you for the love. But now that I've been activated, because I was activated in 2022, I've known, but I have been doing the work. Like, I've been balls to the wall. My family thinks I'm freaking crazy because it's my calling. Everybody thinks Moses is crazy. Crazy. Moses probably thought that Moses was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm doing this work and my family is looking at me and they're like, yo, what's going on? So I have to somehow convince my family that what I believe to be true is true. And that's why I brought the family into it, because I was just like, Moses had to tell Aaron. Aaron had to believe it enough to go and then tell the elders of the Israelites, and they had to convey the belief so passionately that now the elders of the Israelites believe them. So whatever it is that's called on you, and I can speak for myself, this calling that's on my life, I have to now go to my family and be like, yo, this is what we've been called to do. And they're like, yeah, no. I'm just like, yo, wealth and abundance, it's promised to us in this lifetime. Like, this life that we're leading is not our reality. We created this reality, but our reality is so huge, we don't even know what it is. Like, we can't even comprehend, or what's the word, create in our mind, visualize. That's not the word I want, but we can't even think about what we're supposed to be experiencing because we have not seen it. Hey, her hands. And so trying to convey that knowing that I have in my heart to my family, that has been a task, and it's been slow. First, it was my daughter Bailey. My daughter Bailey was the first one to be like Aaron, for me to say, Bailey, yo, this work that I'm doing, I know that it's going to change our lives. You're worried about, what school you're supposed to go to. You're worried about getting a job. You're worried about all these worldly things. These aren't even things you're supposed to be worried about. This work that we're doing here is what's going to sustain our family for generations to come. Bailey was the first one to believe it. So when Moses went to Aaron, Bailey was my Aaron. And then me and Bailey have now had to go to her sister and her brothers and be like, yo, this is what it is. So now all of my family, my children, me and my children, we all talk in the energy of, man, I can't wait till I have a driver. Oh man, I can't wait till someone's cooking our meals every night. We're speaking as though the future is so. We're speaking as though it is so. And my husband, he would actually get mad at me. He was just like, you worried about the future and I'm worried about trying to pay these bills now. Like, you living in the future, I'm living in reality. And I'm saying, well, what's reality? Because if you continue to recreate and replicate this reality, you're going to continue to recreate and replicate this reality. So when I just read that, Moses was given an order from God. Moses then had to take that order and go communicate it to Aaron, who did not directly receive the order, so passionately that Aaron had to now have so much belief to get on board. And I have had to do the same thing. I have an order from God. I had to go communicate it to my family. And slowly but surely, my family is getting on board. Because I can't move this family without this family moving itself. Because I can't leave my family behind. My family has to go where I go. That was a lesson in itself, y'all. It's a develop. Y'all gotta understand, I theorize on the spot. That's what this is. I read it, and then, because the reason why we're reading the Bible is we're not reading the Bible from the theological, learned perspective. Thank you, Ree. I'm not reading from that perspective. I'm reading from the perspective of, okay, God, this is what my present reality is. Help me. And this book is helping me. And my present reality, as we read this, who knows how long it's going to take us to read this, because it's just long-winded. Who knows how long this is going to take us, but guaranteed, whatever we read at the time that we're reading, and those of us who are in earshot to hear it, and if you're not here, you can always check out the live on Lonnie Appleton Live on YouTube. Thank you for the love. It's for you. And it is for us to take whatever it is we receive in that time and apply it to whatever we're working through at that time. Not, okay, this is literal, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Let me literally apply this to my life and treat my kids like livestock. No. Let's dig a little deeper. And that's why God asked me to read the Bible, because I'm the person that's going to ask the questions. I might get smited. Oh, blasphemy looking behind. I get it. But somebody got to be willing to ask some questions to free ourselves from the dictatorship that has been relationship with God. Chapter 5. Bricks without straw. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Let my people go, so that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness." Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord that you should obey him and let Israel, that I should obey him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go." Ooh-wee. Then they said, "The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifices to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues or with swords." I'm going to stop there real quick because I have had a theory since they started talking about divination back in the day. It's a working theory. But I feel when they wrote this book as a means of control, that they put our ancestry into the book as an enemy, right? Before there was Christianity or this book, there was the Egyptian faiths, the Akhenaten. There's all these ancient civilizations prior to even the introduction of this. What is it? It'll come to me. But the gods and all those different things. So for Pharaoh to say, "I don't know your God." Yeah, because Pharaoh worships Pharaoh's gods. And then before Egypt, it's not Sumerian. What is it? I knew it until I need to know it. Anyway, the civilization that existed before even Egypt predates Egypt. I'm going to hear this man say it. Hold on. Kemetic. Kemet. Y'all don't believe the hype where they say only 10 to 20% of us have access to a photographic brain. We all have photographic brains. We all can hear and replay anything that we hear. If you hear my voice and I say something and later on you're in a conversation, I don't care if it's 10 years from now, and you can trace it back to the moment you heard it, you can hear it in your mind's eye. You can develop your brain to that point. We all have different gifts and whatnot, but I think we have access to the same gifts. It's just how developed those gifts are. Because I've been developing my photographic memory, and I've been developing whatever memory, and I actually heard that man say, "Kemetic, da-da-da-da-da, ancient Kemet, da-da-da-da-da." I heard him say it in my ear, and that's how I was able to recall it. Thank you, Nova. So I want Nova America. I be just giving y'all nicknames. But yeah, ancient Kemet predated this book. But this book was created to separate us from our knowing, right? And so this book, because we all know the story of Moses and the Israelites and the false gods and idols, and it made God mad. If you don't know, make sure you tune in. Every calls me Nova. You're okay. All right, Nova. We all know the story. But if we look at the story as the story was a tool, this book was used to separate us. They gave us Bibles. I'm not sure at what point in the journey they gave us Bibles. I heard that they threw Bibles down at the slaves in the bottom of the boat. And so their work to disassociate us and to poison us against our natural talents. I don't have the language. Please, I'm not diminishing. I'm just speaking with the language that I have. But the work to separate ourselves from our truth started the moment they locked us in cages. So for them to use this book and for Pharaoh to be like, "Who is this God that you talk about?" And then we know where this is going, to where Pharaoh's gods are the opposite of this God. It just seems like the poison to poison us against our natural divinity or this divinity. But this divinity is this divinity. You know what I'm saying? It's so this is why we read this. We don't put it away because it's a lie. We read it because through the lies we can find the truth. Thank you, Nova. Then they said, the God of the Hebrews has met with us. Now let us take a 3-day journey into the wilderness to offer sacrifice to the Lord our God, or he may strike us with plagues or with the sword. But the king of Egypt said, Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their labor? Get back to work. Then Pharaoh said, look, the people of the land are now numerous, and you are stopping them from working. That same day, Pharaoh gave this order to the slave drivers and overseers in charge of the people. You are no longer to supply the people with straw for making bricks. Let them go and gather their own straw, but require them to make the same number of bricks as before. Don't reduce the quota. They are lazy. That is why they are crying out, let us go and sacrifice to our God. Make the work harder for the people so that they keep working and pay no attention to the lies. Read. Then the slave drivers and the overseers went out and said to the people, this is what Pharaoh says. I will not give you any more straw. Go and get your own straw wherever you can find it. But your work will not be reduced at all. So the people scattered all over Egypt to gather stubbles to use for straw. The slave drivers kept pressing them, saying, complete the work required of you for each day, just as when you had straw. And Pharaoh's slave drivers beat the Israelite overseers they had appointed, demanding, why haven't you met your quota or bricks yesterday or today as before? That's just all types of messed up. We all have a pineal gland that can see truth. Yes. The gland back here? No, right here. Pineal. I don't know how to say it. Now that I done read that, I done forgot how to say it, but it's up here, right? This is the hypothalamus. This is the hippocampus, and this is the pineal. I can't say it. Pineal. Thank you, pineal gland. Now that I read that, I was like, I don't know how to say it anymore, but yes, we do. Thank you. You will not be given. Okay. The Israelites overseers realized they were in trouble when they were told, you are not to reduce the number of bricks required of you for each day. When they left Pharaoh, they found Moses and Aaron waiting to meet them, and they said, may the Lord look on you and judge you. You have made us obnoxious to Pharaoh and his officials and have put a sword on their hands to kill us. So things got worse before they got better. When you are being called, when your false reality is being broken apart, when you wake up to the mask and you realize that you no longer want to live the lie, things will get worse before they get better. But the determining factor of if you will actually realize and rise to your potential and your truth in this lifetime, the determining factor is, are you willing to allow things to get worse? I know that in this season, I've said to God, I was like, can things just go back to where they were? Can things just go back to where they were? We ain't gotta. I know you have promised me as far as my eyes can see. I know you have promised me. If you look up in the sky and you could count the stars, then you can count your descendants. I know that you have promised me this. But like Shifu said, in order to go forward, like a slingshot, in order to go forward, you got to go backwards. If you want to jump up, you got to go down in order to jump up. So when he said release the people, things got even worse first. Just process that. When you're doing the work and you're realizing your calling within this lifetime, things may get worse before they get better. Let me see. I can't say it either, girl. Pineal. The true keys are in the spirit, not in a book, honey. I understand that, but can I read the book? Is that okay? Can I have this relationship? You may not know me, Nova. If you do, you would know that I have all the relationship in the spirit, and this is all my content. But on December, whatever 3 days before the beginning of the year, God told me to read the Bible. Up until that point, I'm not, you see, I just made it through Genesis, so clearly this ain't my bag. This ain't what I do, but God said, read the Bible. My people don't know me. And I was like, okay, I'll read the Bible. God said, how can you call me on my word if you don't know my word? I was like, okay, I'll read the Bible. So that's why I'm reading the Bible. I'm not looking for, yes. I'm not looking for any answers in here. I was told to do it, so I'm here. Okay. We on the same page, Nova? I ain't looking for this to be no great savior of mine, but if this can get me closer in relationship with my God, I'm going to do it. So we all have the word in us. We are the word. I am the church. I am God. I am all things. But I also know there's something in here for me, and I'm going to get it. I ain't gonna let the lies and all this other stuff keep me from whatever truth is in this book. I could pick up any book. And find truth. And this is the book that I have chosen to find that truth. So come on, Nova. We gonna find us some truth in this here book. Have put a sword, okay. And the point that I was making is, if you are breaking yourself free from this false, dense reality, things may get worse before they get better. Let's see how much we got in chapter 6 if we're going to read it today. We can read chapter 6 today. We made it 6 chapters today. I feel good about our progress. It's all love, Nova. When God asked me to read the Bible, I was like, me? Check out my content now. I never said nothing about the Bible, but I definitely be on religion's neck. I'd be like, on religion's neck. So when God said read the Bible, I was like, get somebody else to do it. I ain't reading that thing. But here we are, because I'm not going to be separated from my God on any level. God's promises deliverance. Moses returned to the Lord and said, why, Lord, why have you brought trouble on this people? Is this why you sent me? Ever since I went to Pharaoh to speak in your name, he has brought trouble on this people, and you have not rescued your people at all. Whew. And this is why God had me read this book, because I am being called to do God's work. And I've been at this I've been at this for an entire year, and I'm like, God, I agree, it has been whitewashed. I was like, God, but the thing, I agree. I'm going to leave it at that. I was like, God, I did what you told me to do. How come ain't no results? Am I mishearing you? Because like Moses talked to a burning bush like that. There's no interpretation there. If the bush that is burning and not being consumed by fire is talking to you, that's probably God. Now, I'm receiving, as Nova said, I'm receiving communication this way from God. And so also in that year of doing the Lord's work, I also am strengthening my intuition. So coming from a place of, is that a thought or is that intuition? Is that a thought or is that intuition? To knowing this is what I'm being told. I was told, period. I don't need to question it. But continuing to do these things, and the door's not opening, it's like, why are things getting worse? Like, you told me to do this, so I thought things would be like, oh, and things aren't. So it's just really, this is for me, for sure. I just connect with spirit instead of the flesh, but we need to accommodate our bodies. We don't have to believe everything we think. We have been programmed. Oh, man. Yes, we have. Check out the content, Nova. I agree. God also said to Moses, I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty. But by my name, the Lord, I did not make myself fully known to them. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, where they resided as foreigners. Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the Israelites, whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore, saying to the Israelites, I am the Lord, and I will bring you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. I will free you from being slaves to them, and I will redeem you into an outstretched arm and with mighty acts of judgment. I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God who brought you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians. They repeat themselves a lot in the Bible, but maybe it's important, right? Nothing is happenstance or coincidence. Everything has a reason. And I will bring you to the land I swore with uplifted hands to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I will give it to you as a possession. I am the Lord. Thank you for the love, guys. Moses reported this to the Israelites, but they did not listen to him because of their discouragement and harsh labor. Ooh. So when you're delivering a message, even if people want to believe you, because believing you and disassociating from the programming, freeing yourself, things get worse. People will sooner turn back and live a lie than go through whatever's necessary to get to the truth. But Moses said to the Lord, if the Israelites will not listen to me, why would Pharaoh listen to me, since I speak with faltering lips? So we always going back to our insecurities. So check your insecurities. If God called you in all the things. So everybody's telling you to brand yourself and to do these things and to package yourself and to do all these things. No, God called you with whatever you've been inspired to, however you've been inspired to present. Don't let nobody change your brand. Your brand is your brand, and God chose your brand. God didn't choose the package. God chose your brand. Family record of Moses and Aaron. Oh Lord, I done gotten to the begats. Let's get into the begats. Now the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron about the Israelites and Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and he commanded them to bring the Israelites out of Egypt. These are the herds of their families. The son of Reuben, the firstborn son of Israel, were Hanak and Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. These were the clans of Reuben. The sons of Simeon were Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, and I'm gonna butcher the names, y'all. Zohar and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. These were the clans of Simon. I don't know which one it is. These were the names of the sons of Levi according to their records: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Levi lived 137 years. The sons of Gershon by clans were Libni and Shimei. The sons of Kohath were Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uziel. Kohath lived 133 years. The son of Merari were Mahali and Mushi. These were the clans of Levi according to their records. Amram married his father's sister, Jochebed. Amram married his auntie, y'all, who bore him Aaron and Moses. Ooh. Amram lived 137 years. The sons of Izhar were Korah, Nepheg, and Zikri. The sons of Uziel were Mashal, Elzaphan, and Sithri. Aaron married Elishaba, I don't know, daughter of Amminadab and sister of Nahshon, and she bore him Nadab and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. The sons of Kohar were Asir, Elkanah, and Abisaph. These were the Korahite clans. Eleazar, son of Aaron, married one of the daughters of Patil, and she bore him Phineas. These were the heads of the Levite families, clan by clan. It was this Aaron and Moses to whom the Lord said, "Bring the Israelites out of Egypt by their divisions." They were the ones who spoke to Pharaoh, king of Egypt, about bringing the Israelites out of Egypt. This same Moses and Aaron. Aaron speaks to Moses. Now when the Lord... Okay, we're going to save that for tomorrow. Even though it's a part of chapter 6, it goes into chapter 7. I think we did good. We did 6 chapters today. And there was a lot. There's a lot. Let's see. Lonnie's content is thought-provoking. Check her out. I've been rocking with her over a year. Yeah, we've been rocking together. We've been healing. Like, the murky waters, I won't say dangers, but the murky waters of my being called to read this book and the trauma that this book has caused our community, the chains that this book has, still has on our community, the association, the lies, the everything, and I know, like, every time I read the Bible, somebody comes and they're just like, well, it's a book of lies. I was just like, yeah, so if we know it's a book of lies, we can discern truth, right? If somebody comes to you and says, you should go left, and you look down the right, and you're like, well, what I'm looking for is on the right side, though. Then you understand, if somebody tells you something and you know it's a lie, then you can discern the truth from it. And so it took me a greater part of Genesis for me to come to terms with the fact that I was asked to read this Bible. But I'm not going to question it, right? I don't want God's anger to burn at me. I don't want God to pull up and try to kill me and somebody got to put some foreskin on my leg. I don't need all that. You want me to read it? I'm going to read it. But I just think people like us, this is what I came to determine. People like us, i.e. the spiritual community, the people who are not bound by the ideals that were implanted from the program or the religious structure. People like us, people like myself, people like Ree, who have turned our entire backs on spiritual texts. Not just the Bible. This is just the one that I'm familiar with. I got the Quran up there, but I can't even... You think I can't read these words? I really can't read those words. And I just think that I can speak for myself and those who are willing to listen. There's something in here for us. And if we can grow not only in relationship with the divine, but also more awareness in how to utilize and navigate this world, because this is history. This is a history book. And if we can know our history, we can figure out what the heck is going on. So I know I'm going to figure out how to manifest. I figured out how to manifest, but there's a key in here, and I'm going to find it in this 1,000 some odd pages. I'm going to find exactly what I'm looking for. And I was told to do it with you guys. And you may find what you're looking for in here too. Just like I could pick up any other book and find what I'm looking for. This is the chosen book. All right, so I am Lonnie Appleton. Those of you who aren't familiar with me, but God is not in a book, so how can he harm you? It was just making reference to where he said Moses. I was just referring to the verse that I read. It was a joke. It's through our own tongue. If it is the way, then we should be reading about Saint Anne. And I can tag me on some information. I only know what I know, right? And I'm always going to say, this is what, look, all I can say, Nova, is the last 3 days of 2023, I fasted and I prayed. And I said, I'm your vessel, use me. And immediately when I sat down to journal, Spirit said, read the Bible every day, 12 noon, Mount Standard Time on live. And I said, why? I don't mess with this book, but I mess with you. And so since you told me to do it, I'm going to do it. And I've had people come to me and question and offer new information. But all I can say is I was told to read this book, and I'm going to read this book based off of what's behind this cover and this cover. Not based off of any other reference points, not based off of any other things. I don't identify as any faith. I just do me. And I know 100,000% who I am. But I also was called to do this, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to be obedient. Regardless of, do I believe this is a book of lies? Yes. Do I believe that there's books missing out of here? Yes. Do I believe that this is what they use to control us and disassociate us? Yes. Did God tell me to read it? Yes. So am I going to take all those different things that I believe to be true and ignore what I was told to do? Heck no. I'm going to do what God told me to do. No matter how I feel, what I believe to be true, none of that matters when God said, read this book. All right, because I ain't going to be disobedient. I am not going to catch God's wrath is what I'm saying. I want what was promised to me in this lifetime. And I've done everything else I know to do, that I know to do. And I was told to do this. So I'm Lonnie Appleton. I'm a healthy family advocate. I advocate for the health and the wellness and the restoration of our family, our community, ultimately society, ultimately the world. We can impact the world energetic by raising our vibration, thus coming together collectively and raising the vibration energetically and changing our world, thus changing the world. How you choose to do that is your journey. I'm not here to influence anything. I am just here to inspire thought, to inspire conversations, to inspire us to wake the fuck up. And so whatever that looks like for you, I just hope that it starts to transpire. In that, if you don't already follow the community, get to know us. We're a growing community of individuals who push each other to each other's greatness. So Nova, you are right on time. You are where you're supposed to be as far as we are a group of individuals who push each other's to our highest potential. That's all we're doing. So if you don't already follow, check out my books. I'm a 2-time published author, LonnieLifestyle.com. Check out my merch, LonnieLifestyle.com. Check out my services. I'll be back tomorrow. If you missed any of the other readings, I repost on YouTube, Lonnie Appleton Live. And I'll be back tomorrow. Oh, yeah. And make sure you do your journaling. So, okay. Hey, welcome in the community. I know you've been following me, but because I've talked to you before, right? Anyway, which is weird, right? That's funny because Reese said the same thing. She was like, girl, and now you're reading the Bible. I was like, I know, me. I was like, I don't know, but I'm going to do it. God said to do it. I'm going to do it. And so, but this is my closing. This is my closing every day. So people who aren't a part of the community, they know how to become a part of the community, what the community is about, how to follow, how to catch up on the previous chapters, and journal. Journal from what we read today and how it applies to your life and how you can use it going forward. You know, I know that I received a lot from this, and I immediately, upon reading it, made the parallel to what I'm going through presently in my life, where I was just like, yo, okay, you teaching me something. So I have a lot to journal, and we'll be back tomorrow for chapter 7. All right, you're my sister already. Oh yes, we are family, brothers and sisters. We stand united. We are here, and we are doing the work, and we are teaching other people that this ain't no game. Right? I forgot the parting of ways, saying the righteous. Oh. Let me see. I forgot to, sis. The best, the righteous, the powerful. The best, the righteous, the powerful. All right, sis. Be well. I actually got to go to class now at 2 o'clock, so I got to scoot on to the other side of town. But yes, the best, the righteous, the powerful. And I will see you guys tomorrow for chapter 7. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Enjoy.